Hello and welcome to Gaga Knits. My name's Anita and I live in South Wales in the UK, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Anita Bulb, and show notes can be found in the description box below. Now, I usually record on the last Tuesday of the month, and today is the 26th of August, which I thought was the last Tuesday of the month, but when I looked at my little calendar over here, I realised that the 31st is actually a Tuesday, so I should be recording next week, but as I've got everything set up, I thought I would just do it today anyway. And besides that, I have my two grandsons staying next weekend, and from Monday and Tuesday, and quite frankly I'd rather spend the time with them, as lovely as it is spending time with you. I hope you've all had a nice August. Mine has been a bit up and down. It's been very nice in that we've had the grandsons come to stay quite a lot, and last August we couldn't have them stay at all, so that's been lovely, seeing lots of them. And also we have been out and about a lot more, and we went to lunch with friends in a nice little village near us called Cowbridge, which was very nice. So all in all, it's been pretty good. My car has been playing up quite a bit this month. It needed a new battery and a new exhaust, so that's quite expensive. And once I got that all sorted out, I had a bout of food poisoning from a dodgy piece of corned beef. So I was quite poorly for several days, but I have now fully recovered from that. And all in all, I have still managed to do some crafty projects that I will share with you as we go along. I've got some knitting, cross stitch, crochet, and I have started work on one of my Christmas in July projects. So let's start with knitting. I'm wearing my finished object for this month, and it is the Princess Twinset jumper from Susan Crawford from her book Coronation Knits, and it is really nice. It's a little bit itchy here at the moment, but I just think I always get a little bit hot when I'm recording, and I think it's that. This yarn is the Drops Alpaca Silk 4-ply in the colour 100, which is Ecru, and it's a really nice cream, and it's lovely and soft and drapey. You have to knit bottom up in pieces and sew them together, and then you do this really nice mock cable at the top here, and also on the back neck where we have this button. You're supposed to do 2 buttons, but I only did 1, and I was a little bit disappointed in that it didn't have buttonholes. You have to put poppers and sew the buttons over the top, which I don't think is as nice, because I'm going to have to be careful not to stretch the fabric out when I open and close the jumper. I didn't realise I hadn't done buttonholes until I went to sew the buttons on and couldn't find the buttonholes, and thought I'd read the pattern wrong, and I looked through the pattern again, and no, you don't put them, you do these poppers. If I did it again, I probably would make my own buttonholes. I don't know why it's poppers, not buttonholes. But anyway, it's a really nice pattern to follow, very easy. Yes, really nicely written, and I followed a few YouTube videos on how to sew it up, because I wanted to make sure my sewing up of the seams was nice and neat. And one of, I think it was Very Pink Knits, she said if it's a well written pattern, your seams will sort of meet really nicely, and you won't have to do any fudging. And this did all sew up really nicely, so it must be a very well written pattern. So I highly recommend this, and I'm wearing it with this skirt here, which I made, let me move that, from a Rosary Apparel pattern. It was a dress. She's got a free dress pattern on her website, on her YouTube channel, and I did make the dress, but it was very high neck, and in this fabric I did feel like a very old Minnie Mouse. So I took the bodice bit off and just put a waistband and a zip, and it's got nice pockets, and I made it last summer and I did show it on here. But it was really, I mean, this has got a lot of fabric in it, but it was like, I don't know, 50% more than this. So I took it all apart the other week took out quite a big chunk of this fabric and then sewed it all back together so it wasn't so foofy, because it just felt, I'm quite hippie anyway, and then it made me feel enormous. But I'm quite happy with it now. And the little buttons on the back are these here, which are quite nice. I think they're meant to be vintage, but I bought them in a little shop in Narberth called Green Door, and they sell all sort of unusual bits and pieces. Narberth is a little town in West Wales. So that was my finished knitting project, so I'm really happy with that. Right, so that's my finished object, and I have a work in progress that I hadn't shown you before. Just slightly itchy around here. We went, as I said, we went to Cowbridge the other week with friends for lunch, and our friend's brother came with his wife, and she's expecting a baby in December, a little girl she's expecting, but she doesn't like girly pink things, and so I offered to make her something, and I found a designer on Ravelry. I'm not quite sure how you say her name. Is it Oge Knitwear Designs, OGE? And she's got loads of patterns on her site. She's an Australian designer, and I saw this pattern and I just loved it. As the baby's going to be born in December, I just thought that was so pretty. It's knit in the round and it's top down, and it's such a nice pattern to follow. Now I am using this yarn, which, if I can find the band, is Marriner pure wool merino. It's 100% superwash merino wool, and it does say it's suitable for babies. And this is what I've done so far. So I've done all the back and the sides because it knits up really quickly, and I love making the trees. I decided to do it all in the same colour, and I thought grey is quite a neutral colour. So and then it's got these little raglan decreases. It's really pretty, and I am now working on the first sleeve. Now you can knit the sleeves in the flat and then sew them together, or knit them in the round. Well, I'm quite happy doing things in the round, so I'm doing that. And I haven't got any buttons sorted yet, and the button band is knitted along with the cardigan all at the same time, and there's some little buttonholes. Oh, it's really lovely, and it's nice and soft. And I also bought, when I bought this, the hat pattern, and it's a little hat with the Christmas tree design on, so I've also bought some red yarn, and I thought the same Marriner yarn, so I thought I'd make a little matching hat that's red and grey. So that should be finished by next time. Maybe if I'd recorded next week, these would all have been finished, but never mind. So that's my work in progress. I'm just going to look down on my notes so I don't forget anything. On to crochet. I have been working on a Christmas project, but it's not out of my Christmas in July. This is my pattern that I bought from Davina of Little Workroom Crafts, and it's her folded crochet Christmas tree pattern, and the main yarn I'm using is this beautiful green 4-ply. It's from Tyddyn Bryn, and it's her vintage Christmas Green Stardust sock yarn, and I adore it. And this is how much I've got left, so I can still make something else with this. And I've put some in my crocheted granny stripe blanket as well, and I've still got some left. So this is the tree so far. Now, I'm not brilliant at crochet, and I know my bucket at the bottom is wonky, and that was my own fault, because instead of using a row counter to count the rows, I thought I'd remember, and I think I was watching a YouTube video or something, and it's a bit wonky. But it wouldn't be mine if it wasn't wonky, and I'm thinking I could probably block that and make it a bit better. And here's the top of the tree, and you have to crochet triangles and do some fancy folding to make them like this. Now some of mine didn't join properly in the middle, so I have actually stitched them together, but the actual folding and stitching should be enough. Now Martin and I went into Cardiff yesterday looking for some of the little tinsel balls you have to put little tinsel balls on in the gaps. This is Davina's one. With the little tinsel balls and the buttons. I couldn't find the tinsel balls anywhere. I looked in John Lewis and in Tiger, and there's a wool shop in the market, indoor market in Cardiff, and I couldn't find any. But I'm thinking I might put beads or jewels maybe in these, and some other bits and pieces, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I was thinking, wouldn't it look nice with fairy lights around it, Christmas? So I'm doing not too bad. It's nearly finished, and it's lovely, Davina, a really nice pattern. It's nice to follow. The folding is a little bit confusing, but if you use Davina's picture as well as, you know, you can work it out. If I can work it out, anyone can work it out. So that's so nearly finished, and I would have had it finished for today had I been able to find the little glittery baubles. But I think, like I say, I've got lots of beads, and my dad and stepmom last Christmas gave me a big sort of bead set, a box of all different beads and things. I could go through there, and I think that might actually look nicer than the pom-poms. So that's my only crochet, and then onto cross stitch. You would have seen at the top of this video my August cross stitcher magazine sampler, which had a lighthouse, I think. Is it? No, not a lighthouse. It's got a boat. Was it a lighthouse? Might have been a lighthouse. Is it a lighthouse in July? Oh yes, lighthouse in July, and a boat in August. I don't know if you can see it shining, and a little bird. But they are, well, Tina from Simply in Stitches is doing these as well, and she puts them in little frames, and she calls them a quick stitch, but I find they take ages. I think they take ages, but my tablecloth is coming along nicely. I'll just go and get it to show you. So August and July are on this side. There they are. And then on the other side I've got the rest of the year. So obviously I've been doing them every month. I don't know I can't remember if I've shown them from, where are we? Are you January? January, February, March, where is it? April, May, and June. So they are looking quite nice, but I am bored of stitching the same thing. But it will be a lovely tablecloth when it is finished. And I have started work on the alphabet cross stitch that I bought in Home Bargains. I keep it in my lovely bag from Davina, little Workroom crafts again. And I take this to work, so that's why I've sort of folded it in half, because it fits in my bag. I don't know if you remember this, I did show it. I can't really show you the pattern, because it's on there. Have I got the picture? I don't know, I haven't kept the picture of it, but I can show you what I've done so far. So it's an alphabet sampler, and it was just a couple of pounds. And you get all the threads, and I've done that many so far. And it's quite nice to do in my lunchtime, because it's quite small and you can get each little one done. So I'm getting there. I'm working on my elephant up there. Not much more to do on him, and then he'll be finished. And then there's the jellyfish and a narwhal, monkey, quail and rabbit. So quite pleased with that. And I've had a couple of days off work because I wasn't well with my food poisoning, but I'm back in work tomorrow. I'm thinking it might be a bit busy, I might not be able to do anything tomorrow, but I'll take it with me anyway. Hope for the best. So this morning I took my mum out shopping and we popped into Home Bargains to get a few bits, and I saw this. It is meant to be a bird table, a bird feeder, but I often buy things that are meant to do one job and use them for another, and I thought this would be perfect as a little seat for Arthur and Beatrice, and that's why they are sat there quietly behind us. And rather than make the armchair that I'm supposed to make, because I've been meaning to make it out of the Luna Lappy book for absolutely ages, I'm going to paint this little chair up and maybe give them a cushion, and they're going to have a little swing seat. Is that cute? And being the mean Gaga that I am, I don't let Harry and Jack play with these anymore because they're a little bit rough. So if you see, Beatrice has already popped her leg. I'm going to have to do a bit of fixing on that. So they're not allowed to play with them, only look at them. So I thought if they hang up, this is a bit twisted, this, I'll have to sort that out. If they hang up, and I just thought that would look nice. So if you fancy one of these for your Luna Lappins, it's in Home Bargains in the pet section because it's meant to be a bird feeder, and I think it was $4.99. So it's just a little something I bought that I thought you might be interested in. Christmas in July. So the pattern that I've been working on is the one I think needs to be finished first. So there are two really that need to be finished first. The large fairy for my brother and sister-in-law, and obviously the Elf on the Shelf jumpers because they need to go to Father Christmas in time for the beginning of December, because I don't know, they are wanted for Christmas jumper day, which I think is like in the middle of December, but I want to get them to Father Christmas quite soon. But saying that, I didn't do that, I did the large fairy because that seemed to be more fun. If you remember, I am making the large fairy out of this book for my brother and sister-in-law, A Naughty Knitted Noel, and these patterns are really well written. It is so easy to follow, and people say, oh, it's suitable for a beginner and things, but I'm not really sure, because as you get better at things, it seems easy to you, doesn't it? But I'm really enjoying it anyway. And the yarn I'm using is the King Cole Baby DK Cherished in Champagne. It's only cheap acrylic. It's nice and soft, and so far I've made nearly all the body pieces. So let me show you what she's supposed to look like. Harry made me a bookmark. Oh, right, I'm covering her up. I'm covering her naughty bits. So there she is, the large fairy, and I bought from Amazon, I bought some of these glittery pipe cleaners because you need them for her halo, for her wand, and from some other spangly bits. So I have made her body parts. And this bag I bought on Etsy from Amelia Joy. I bought this one and another one for my Christmas in July projects for in their box, but I'll show you the other one next time, or when I get to work on the project that's in that. So the first thing I made was her head. If you can you see where her nose, I mean the light is, I'll be able to do it that way. So that's her nose here, and then these little dents up here are for her eyes. I just think the pattern is really good because that's definitely going to be a nose sticking out. And then this is her body. So there are her boobies at the top, and then her legs, and then you have to, I'm going to obviously have to stuff them and then sew those up. And I've done one arm. That didn't take long. Obviously an arm's not going to take very long. There's her arm. So it's not going to take me long really to get her all sewn up together. There's her arm. There's her head. So she's nearly there. Nearly there. And it is a really fun knit because all the pieces are knit very quickly, and well, I will be making more out of this book, and it is really, really well written. The patterns are very easy to follow, and then, like I say, there's lots of other things in there that aren't necessarily rude that you can knit. There's that one, and then so that's all my craftiness this month. Like I say, a bit less than usual because I've had the boys, and also I'm recording a week early. Now the last thing is Martin and I went blackberry picking the other day in the rain, because I had it in my head I wanted to make blackberry jam this one day, and then we went outside to pick the blackberries and started raining. But we managed to pick 1 kilogram of blackberries, and I have got a bread maker from Lidl's. It's called the Silver Crest bread maker, and it has a jam making facility on it, so I thought I'd give making jam a go in it to see how well it works. I made jam last year and it was a bit runny, and I have made my blackberry jam, and I filmed it just in case you were interested in seeing how it's done, because it's very easy to do. And if you can see, this is a little bit runny too. Now I washed the blackberries twice. I soaked them in salt water and rinsed them twice to make sure there's no maggots or anything in them, because you get the little fruit fly maggots in, and you're always going to get them, so I make sure I do that to get rid of them, although they are perfectly safe to eat apparently, but I don't want to eat them. And I think I should have dried the blackberries out before putting them in the bread maker, because that's what I think made the blackberry jam a little bit loose, but I didn't really know how to spread them out and dry them without, I mean there's lots of flies and things, I don't want anything landing on them, so that's why I think it's come out a little bit loose. But anyway, I should put the video in at the end just for you to see how I made it. And I did talk on the video at the first half, but when I came back to the jam after it'd been finished mixing, my washing machine was on and it was making quite a bit of noise, so I'm going to have to do a talk over for the last bit, so it's a bit inconsistent. But I hope you enjoy it and see how easy it is actually to make jam. That's if you've got a bread maker, but it's also pretty easy if you make it in a pan. I think it's a bit of a myth. I always used to think, oh, jam making, you've got to sterilise the jars and, you know, get it to the boiling point, and it's all really quite complicated, and it's not. It doesn't take long at all, and it tastes so nice. And I don't see blackberry jam in the shops. I see blackcurrant, but not blackberry. So I hope you enjoy that, and I hope you all take care, and I shall see you the end of next month. Maybe it will be the last Tuesday of the month, the proper last Tuesday of the month. But if you don't want to miss a video, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I had my first thumbs down last month, and I was watching Paula from Stitched with Mrs. D, couldn't think of her name then, and she did a vlog of her summer holiday a couple of weeks ago, and apparently someone put a not very nice comment about why was she knitting and not spending time with her children on her vlog. That upset her a lot, and I just think, I don't understand why people would leave nasty comments or do thumbs downs, because, you know, we're not professionals, as you can tell, and we just come on to share our makes and to you know, get the comments back and we can have a bit of conversation going. And really, if you don't like what someone's showing or on YouTube, just switch it off, watch something else. You don't have to be mean to people. Anyway, that's my little take on life. Be nice to everyone, treat other people how you want to be treated, and the world will be a better place. Anyway, take care and see you all next time. Bye for now.
The ingredients needed for blackberry jam is 500 grams of blackberries, 500 grams of jam sugar, and 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Right, so I'm going to switch my bread maker on, take the pan out, and it says to put the blackberries. I've soaked these in salt water and rinsed them because the thought of maggots really quite puts me off. And then you put jam in, the jam sugar, and then 2 to 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Oops. 1, 2, 3. Just give it a good stir. Put this back in. One way usually clicks. Go. And then set the program for jam, which is 14. And we'll see what happens. 1 hour and 20 minutes later, the jam is ready. It's very hot. Got a jam strainer because we don't like any pips or the fruit, just want the actual sauce. Start scooping it into there. It's straining out. I decide it's actually quicker if I just tip the whole thing in. Sorry you couldn't hear that, it's my tummy rumbling. So when it all goes, then you have to just wait for it to strain through. I wash the jars in the dishwasher so they're sterilised, and 500 grams of blackberries yields 2 jars blackberry jam, and I repeated the whole process again, so that's how I ended up with 4 jars. Just ladle it all into the jar. It's quite handy if you've got one of those cones, sieve, not a sieve, what do you call that? Don't know. Anyway, the wax disc then goes onto the top of the jar while the jam is still hot. Then you screw the lid on tightly. It's your jar of jam.